Hi everyone, Amy here. This is going to be the second episode in my bedtime musing series for YouTube. I don't always have enough energy to put up my green screen, put on makeup, and sit in front of the camera. So I decided I would do this series on various topics while I'm resting in bed. And tonight's episode is going to be about living with a chronic illness and how it impacts our hierarchy of needs. And in case you're not familiar with this theory, basically in 1943, Abraham Maslow proposed that people, not only do they have needs for food, clothing, and shelter, but they also have other needs. And he used a pyramid to demonstrate this. Starting at the bottom, we have our basic needs like food, clothing, and shelter. Then the next tier is safety needs. That's like a safe environment, free from domestic violence, financial, job security, health. And then the next one is belongingness and love needs, relationships with friends and intimate relationships. Then we have esteem needs, prestige and feeling of accomplishment. And at the very top of the pyramid, we have self-actualization, and that's achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. I apologize if I'm stumbling. I don't have my glasses on. So anyway, one of my videos that I did on my dark days, what I call my dark days, I was very ill a couple of years ago. One of the major things was my anxiety was through the roof, and I found out that it was due to adrenal fatigue. And sorry, bear with me, I'm really tired, and the whirring you hear in the background is my fan. But anyway, I found out that my anxiety was being caused by adrenal fatigue, and I was just basically running on fumes, just running on pure adrenaline after many years of stress and being sick. So that was kind of cured, at least the anxiety that was being caused by a physiological reason. But then my brain started to tell me, be anxious, be anxious. And we do a lot of self-talk, a lot of inner chatter, and it's really hard after a lot of years to rewire your brain. I'm working on it, but I was getting so frustrated because I was still really anxious, not from a physiological cause, but from a psychological cause. And I felt like I was really making progress, and then it was like 2 steps forward and three steps back, and I'm like, why am I still anxious? I thought I addressed this. And then I realized, it's because my life is hard. I'm not trying to garner pity or anything, just doing a lot of self-discovery. And it's very difficult living with a chronic illness, and never really experienced good health ever in my life. But once I got chronic fatigue syndrome back in 93, although I was showing symptoms before that, I've been living with this for over 30 years, and it's very difficult. I'm in constant pain and misery from different symptoms, and there's really nowhere I can go to escape this. My body's essentially a prison. The only time that I'm not in pain or misery is when I'm unconscious, when I'm sleeping, and then I have nightmares. So it's understandable why I would be so anxious. And I also kind of came to this revelation that, when a healthy, quote, healthy person wakes up in the morning or whenever they get up, their anxiety meter is probably pretty low. Maybe they're a little stressed about, a presentation at work or a few things. But for me or someone who has a chronic illness, as soon as I get up, my anxiety meter is already pretty full just because I feel so bad physically, and yet I still have things I have to do. So I'm always operating under pain and under misery. So I also discovered, I probably came to this conclusion maybe about a year ago, that another reason I'm so anxious is because of the hierarchy of needs. I was in a couple of really stressful marriages, and it was like constant disconnection notices. Will we be able to pay our rent, our mortgage, scrimping for money for food and everything. And then all of those basic needs were not necessarily being met, or they were at risk of not being met. And then, of course, I've struggled with health issues for all of these years, and have been unable to work. And I get a very low amount of money coming in because I'm sick. Basically, I get half of what's considered poverty level in my state. So I just, it just dawned on me that the first two tiers of the hierarchy of needs for me, I'm always on the first or second tier. I can never, for so many years, I can never really get past that, because the first and second tier were threatened. And, when you're so ill, it's hard to even take care of the basic needs in life. It takes a lot of energy, to cook, bathe, just do simple things like that. So if I'm not getting, or if I'm stuck on these first two tiers and can never get past them, I'm not able to do a lot of the things I want to do to even get to the top of the pyramid, which is self-actualization, basically being the best me I can. So that causes a lot of stress and anxiety, and I know that a lot of people are probably stuck on this first or second tier, and that really puts a lot of stress in your life when you can't move past those first two tiers. Like, I'm a very creative person. I write, I write books, and I love to do crafts and things, but very rarely do I even have the energy to do my basic needs on the bottom of the tier. So I can't even get past those first two tiers most days, and that's very stressful, and it really has a negative impact on your ego and your self-esteem. So just curious what other people feel about Maslow's pyramid of the hierarchy of needs, especially my fellow chronic illness friends. Um, Sorry, this wasn't scripted at all. I've been wanting to do this audio for a few days, but I've been in bed a lot lately, resting, just feeling really horrible. So, just curious what other people feel about the hierarchy of needs and how your chronic illness or your disability impacts it. Thanks for listening.